I'd like to talk about the built-in alarm system each and every one of us has in order to let us know when we're going down a path of spiritual confusion and misalignment. This alarm system manifests so-called negative states, negative emotions, whether we're talking about anxiety, depression, shame, envy, any disturbance we can feel emotionally that cripples us and seems to hold us hostage is just an alarm bell informing us that we have not been participating in divine actions, in tendencies that lead to a strong sense of eternal comfort. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. The negative states we find ourselves in, the icky emotions we can feel, are absolutely the real stuff of true spiritual work and thus transformation, because it is through examining what leads to such a crippling sense of dissatisfaction and divine misalignment that we can investigate and then eradicate all things in our lives that do not point to eternal comfort. And that's ultimately what each and every living soul is looking to achieve, eternal comfort. Nobody wants to feel at odds with themselves. And yet it's very common in this world, due to foolishness, due to fear, due to addiction, due to, well, any uncomfortable tendency we can place a label on. It's very common to ignore wisdom's wise whispers in favor of something else. None of us want to remain in a state of turmoil, of torment, but it seems as if earthly circumstances conspire against us, right? When we're attached to the temporary, we can easily become consumed with states of consciousness that oppose the states that we'd rather be in. And yet, if we're not examining the behaviors and transforming the behaviors that truly cut us off from a healing modality, then we'll just be shooting ourselves in the foot. How we're behaving in life is absolutely crucial to evaluate and to change if we haven't been operating in a very decent way. And if you're here in 2023, you can say just as much as I that we have not in all moments operated in a very loving, wise way. We have not been connecting the God inside of ourselves in each and every moment of our lives to all that we touch. And this is a very good realization, the realization that we have been incomplete. It's a great realization, because this means we now have an opportunity, and we always have an opportunity, to act in accordance with our beautiful divine selves, or to ignore the inner voices and alarm systems that are just trying to let us know the result of what we've done and where we've been and who we've allowed ourselves to grow into. Now, of course, if we refuse to listen to these alarm bells, if we refuse to examine what these lowly states of consciousness, of emotion have to offer us, then we're just fools. We're just fools in the moments that we ignore wisdom's whispers. And wisdom whispers to us via the cries that are felt in our lives. And when conflict exists in us, it exists outside of us too. So unless we heal ourselves, we won't heal the universe. And I would think that there's no better reward in this life than a centered consciousness that each and every one of us can even begin cultivating right here, right now. And it must always be on our minds to step more into divine balance, divine integration. Because the influence of this world can be so strong, and because we have seen so much confusion and incompletion in our lives, in this world, because things are messed up, baby. That's what I'm saying. Because things have been so messed up, we have to speak mantras of healing constantly unto ourselves. And then we'll be speaking mantras of healing to each other. And then, no matter what earthly tides ebb and flow, no matter what storms come and go, we can be situated in an eternal presence that is not swayed by this overwhelming, crippling sense of defeat. So, when this alarm system goes off, and it definitely does all the time, right? I would say a living soul has an obligation to investigate the cause of this feeling. These feelings don't arise out of thin air. We are operating everything from behind the scenes, and this being we're in, this body, is only ever experiencing disturbances due to a disturbed spiritual condition. We are here to uplift ourselves from a confused spiritual state into a very clear one. But to achieve divine clarity, we really have to operate in a way that does not produce more tension in our lives than is necessary. And it's only necessary when we haven't learned. When we're unaware of ourselves, we actually get a bit more leeway. When we don't know what we're doing is hurting ourselves or hurting others, and when we're hurt, we usually end up hurting others. Hurt people. When we're not aware of what we're doing, there aren't divine penalties put in place. But once we know what disturbs our sense of ease and our sense of strength, then we have a responsibility to cleanse anything in our lives, in our speech, in our minds, in our behaviors, blah, 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 so we can just be better. That's really what this is about, being better. And if we keep our attachment to temporary circumstances, well, we're always going to be upset. The temporary is nothing to hold on to, especially if we have a strong and intimate connection with eternal divine powers. And while these divine powers might seem kind of mystical and otherworldly, they're really not, because they are you. Your consciousness can never die, which means whatever state you find yourself in at any moment cannot change unless you change, cannot alter unless you alter. No God is going to come and help your alignment unless you act in a way that progressively goes in the direction of enlightenment, of alignment. Excuse me. Alignment, enlightenment, words. Well, I'm just speaking some verbal poetry here, but maybe you find it helpful, so I'm going to go. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.